Welcome to the Explainer. Look, if your brain is constantly sweating the small stuff or spiraling totally out of control, you're going to want to hear this. We are skipping the usual warm-up today and jumping straight into a biological quirk that feels, honestly, like it's straight out of an anime. It might literally change how you process stress in real time.
Okay, let's dive into this. Don't clear your mind. Do this instead. Boom. I want you to just absorb that for a second. It completely goes against everything we've ever been taught, right? When you're stressed, what does everyone say? Oh, just clear your mind. Take a deep breath. Empty your thoughts. But let's be real. Trying to forcefully wipe your mind blank is like trying to stop a speeding train with your bare hands. It's a massive pattern interrupt that immediately shatters conventional advice. We are absolutely not doing that today.
This brings us to our disrupt phase. Let's just call it what it is. So much of the advice from meditation apps and, self-proclaimed wellness gurus sitting cross-legged on mountains, it all sells you the exact same flawed idea. Clear your mind. But here's the hard truth. Nobody's brain actually works that way. You can't just flip a switch and turn off your thoughts. It's biologically unnatural. The wellness industry has basically been handing you an impossible task, setting you up for complete frustration.
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive gap between expectation and reality. We expect this peaceful silence, right? Like a fluffy, tranquil cloud when we try to clear our minds. But the reality? Chasing that silence actually creates blaring, deafening noise. When you sit there thinking, don't think, don't think, don't think, well, what are you actually doing? You're thinking. You're stressing out about the fact that you're stressed out. This is a vicious feedback loop that just amplifies the exact anxiety you're desperately trying to escape.
So, what's the solution? If we can't empty the tank, what on earth do we do? Instead, flood it. This was the absolute game changer for me when I was looking into this topic. This is the unexpected revelation that flips the whole script. Instead of trying to drain your mind of thoughts, which, as we know, does not work, you have to completely overwhelm it. You have to give your brain so much of a specific type of sensory data that it simply doesn't have the processing power left to spiral. So here is exactly how you do it. Step 1. Pick one thing in the room right now. Just one. Actually, let's keep it super simple. A coffee mug, a pen, maybe a plant on your desk. Step 2. Describe it in insane detail. Think of this like one of those intense, hyper-focused zoom-in shots in an anime, where the main character locks onto a single target, the background speed lines kick in, and the rest of the world just completely blurs out. You are aiming all of your active cognitive processing power at this one solitary physical object.
Let's move on and see how this builds. When I say insane detail, I mean you need to rapid-fire these sensory elements directly into your active consciousness. Let's look at color. Is it just blue, or is it a deep navy fading into cyan? Texture. Is the surface smooth, grainy, maybe scratched? Shadow. Where exactly is the light hitting it, and how does that shadow fall across your desk? Shape. Trace the exact geometric contours in your mind. By locking onto these hyper-specific details, you are demanding complete attention from your senses. You are entirely occupying your mind's bandwidth.
And that brings us to the ultimate built-in biological limitation that we're taking advantage of. Notice the stark difference here between spiraling and observing. Your brain is an incredibly powerful machine, but it has hard physical limits. It literally cannot spiral in anxiety and deeply observe environmental details at the exact same time. It just can't do it. When you force your brain to meticulously process the shadow and texture of a coffee mug, you are quite literally starving the anxiety of the computing power it needs to keep running. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the actual science behind the trick. Let's formalize this a bit. We call this a sensory anchor. It's a focused observation technique that hijacks the brain to stop overthinking. Think about it. You are dropping a heavy anchor into the physical reality right in front of you, holding your mind steady against the pulling currents of your own intrusive thoughts. It's not magic, guys. It is a mechanical override for your nervous system.
Let's get into the heavy neuroscience for just a second. This technique specifically targets your default mode network, or DMN. The DMN is the part of your brain responsible for rumination, daydreaming, and that uncontrolled spiraling when your mind is quote-unquote at rest. When you actively engage your senses to observe the real world in insane detail, this sensory anchor basically acts as a circuit breaker. It shuts down the default mode network and activates the parts of your brain used for present moment awareness and immediate task completion.
No app required. I absolutely love this part. You don't need a $30 monthly subscription, you don't need a perfectly quiet room with mood lighting or some guided meditation track. You don't need to buy expensive wellness products. You already have this built-in biological mechanism right behind your eyes. All you have to do is choose to use it. You are the one in total control of the switch.
So the crucial point is the sheer power of the pattern interrupt. We just took a massive 5-beat journey together. We started by disrupting the old tired advice to just clear your mind. We recognized that chasing silence actually creates more noise. Then, we replaced that impossible goal with a hyper-focused active sensory task, flooding the brain with details. By doing that, we hijacked the default mode network and effectively broke the mental spiral.
Now, I have a question for you. What is the weirdest trick that has ever actually calmed your mind? Seriously, I want you to drop your best, most unexpected tricks down below in the comments. I'm actively collecting the best ones for a future explainer, and I really want to see what wild methods you all use. Thank you so much for joining me on this rapid-fire journey into the mind. Try the sensory anchor the next time you feel a spiral coming on, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.